Greetings, African people, wherever you guys are, and also all of you guys who are listening from all over the world. I want to welcome you once again to Holistic African Spirituality, and today we'll be talking about wigs and African hair. And someone might ask this question: what does that got to do with spirituality? What does that got to do with the way I live, or the way we as Africans live? I'm here to tell you that it has everything to do with your spirituality, because your hair as an African, especially women's hair, it's everything about you, right? That's the first thing that someone sees when they look at you is your hair. And that's why it's very easy to spot someone with locks, right? People use dreadlocks. I don't use dreadlocks because there's that connotation of the word dreaded, which was given to us by foreigners. When you hear someone talks about dreadlocks, it came from Caucasians, white people, especially in the Caribbean and in Africa, the colonialists and the Christians, when they looked at black people with locks, and they were talking about those dreaded people, and that's how the word dreadlocks came about. So it didn't start off as a nice sort of word. No, it was a word which had this evil connotation to it. So I don't use the word dreadlocks. I use the word locks because that's the most natural hair. For if you leave our hair, it turns into locks. A beautiful sight. Who doesn't love locks? So when we talk about this today, I'm addressing women's hair, black women's hair, and the use of wigs. And it's a very I would say a sensitive topic. I've spoken to several women from all over the place about wearing wigs, and it's something that it's sensitive. And again, why is it sensitive? If as a black person, as a black man, you start talking about wigs, women, and I've noticed that my experience has been that a lot of women become so defensive. They give 1,001 reasons why they wear these wigs. But I want us to look at it from a spiritual perspective. Because once you put on that wig, right? And mostly when I talk about wigs, I know they're Afro wigs, but most African women don't wear Afro wigs. They go for the straight hair, for the Caucasian hair, the straight looking hair, because they want so much to look like white. That's the basic. That's the bottom line, right? We want to look like white. And but I found that women give so many reasons. And there's one particular woman that I was talking to, and a very good friend of mine, and she was saying to me, she was like, "Oh, the reason why I love having these wigs is because and wigs and weaves, same thing, right? They talk about." She was like, "Oh, it's because it's very easy for me to put it on, but it takes time for me to style my hair, and so it's very easy for me. If I'm going somewhere, I just put it on and style it in a few minutes, and I'm off." Then I looked at her. I was like, "Are you serious?" And she said, "Yeah, that's why I do it." I was like, "Why are you saying you cannot do that to an Afro wig? A wig that closely resembles your hair, or it looks exactly like your hair. And she was like, I was like, yeah, I know what you're saying. You do not have an answer for that, because deep down you are so much enslaved in your mind that there's a voice in you that every day this voice tells you every day that you cannot go out looking like yourself. So when you look yourself in the mirror, you want to see, the first thing that you want to see is that close resemblance to a white woman, because you're enslaved. You are mentally enslaved. And she was like, oh no, it's not like that. I'm like, how is it any other way? How many black wigs do you have? When you have waves, how do you have waves where you have Afro waves? The answer is no. A lot of women don't. Black women don't. And it's this thing in their mind which is mental enslavement, that they want to look at their beauty. Black women want to look at their beauty, and they want to complete their beauty by introducing this white element into it. And as a black man, I have to say, and I'm not the only one, that black women are most beautiful in their natural state, with their natural hair. They're most beautiful. I have stopped women all over the place, right? And especially when I see women with their natural hair, black women, I stop them just to congratulate them, right? Just to I stop them just to say thank you to them, and I just to thank them. I stop them just to tell them that they're doing such a wonderful thing, especially for the young girls, that they should be so proud of what they're doing. And many a times, I can tell you, 9 out of 10 times, I see tears in their eyes. I see tears in their eyes, because it's such a struggle that when I've stopped and I've complimented black women who just wear their natural hair. This is the most natural thing, but it is such a thing that is fought. It's fought in the West, in offices. There have been cases where black women have been told, oh, you can't work here with that kind of hair. And then you're thinking, what do you mean that kind of hair? You cannot be a newscaster with that kind of hair here. Or you need to wear, what they're saying is you can't have your natural hair, but you can wear a wig. So cover yourself, wear a wig, and then be fake, then we will accept you. But we cannot accept you in your natural state. There have been cases upon cases, even boys going, for example, to school with their locks, where their teachers on their school say, oh, we can't allow your child to come to school looking like this. And the parents are like, what do you mean look like this? With their natural hair? But all other people groups and all other races, no one has a problem with their hair. No one has a problem with their hair. But when it comes to us, including our own boys, including our own girls, when they have their natural hair, or they have their natural styles, black styles, they're like, oh no, you can't style your hair like that. And the question is, why? So there have been cases, right, where parents have gone to court, and the courts have gone, are these schools crazy? What do you want a child to do? That's their natural hair. So it's a very, very sensitive issue, and it needs to be sensitive because this is about black identity. It's about the black identity, and the hair thing with women goes hand in hand with bleaching. Over 70%, I was reading some 70% of women in Nigeria bleach their skin. I don't know what age group, but I'll talk about bleaching sometime in the future because that's one of the worst things to have ever happened, always happening to black women. But today we're talking about hair because it's something that I saw some young girls some time ago with their mother, some very young girls, not more than 10 years, and they all had wigs. They all had wigs, and I was like, oh my God, you're teaching these young girls to hate themselves. You're telling these young girls that you're not beautiful, and you can only be beautiful if you look like a white woman or an Asian. That's the message that you're sending to these girls. And so what follows suit is bleaching. Those two go hand in hand. But let's stick with the hair thing. See, it's a spiritual thing, right? Black hair is the only hair that can be styled in thousands. That you can, like, the styling is crazy, right? You can have so many styles. And if you're a lover of history, especially during the struggle, black women used to use their hair in America and also in Africa. They used their hair to send messages. They will use their hair to sort of as a map. Slaves will use their hair as a map that will help them escape. So they'll style their hair, and every woman and every person who was involved in escaping will look at the hair and they will know where to go, where to turn. It's the only hair that you can do that to, or with. And I came across a very interesting law in America in the late 18th century. In 1786 in Louisiana, there was a law called the Tignon or the Tignon law that required black women to wear scarves. It was a law in America that forced black women to cover their hair. And do you know why they were forced to cover their hair? Because these scarves, when they saw these women, they're the only women who are supposed to. So it was discriminatory, it was racist. That they were the only women who were meant to cover their hair, and it was a symbol, it was a sign that they belonged to that slave master in quotes and that other slave master. But as we always do with everything you throw at us, and it soon became a status symbol of fashion. When I read this, I was like, this is amazing. Everything is thrown to us and we sort of turn it. We turn it into something else. And so it became like a fashion thing, a status symbol, and very soon a lot of sort of aristocratic women started wearing the scarves and styling themselves, and they were like, oh, this is not what we expected, and the stuff sort of dropped it, and there was a lot of issues surrounding it. But it tells you the seriousness of black hair, especially when our beautiful, wonderful women wear it in style. It's the most. Every time I look at a black woman with just wearing their own natural hair, I smile. I smile at them. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. The lady I was telling you about, my friend, after some time, we continued talking about the black hair, and I was like, and I told her what it meant in her own life, and the kind of message it sent to other people. I said, whenever people look at a black woman wearing a wig, they know that person, especially other races, they know that woman is enslaved, has a slave mentality, right? And that's what I told her. Every time other races look at you, they're like, oh yeah, that's a slave. She has a slave mentality. It does not matter how learned someone is or how beautiful the person is. You're wearing that wig is a sign. It's sending off this sign. So my lady friend started styling her hair and started wearing Afro wigs, and she started other races started complimenting her. She told me something very interesting. Where she usually shops, she goes to this shop, a big store, and a couple of Caucasian white women started talking to her and complimenting her hair, complimenting her and telling her how beautiful she is. And I was like, can I ask you a question, please? Did this ever happen when you had these white wigs, when you're wearing these straight looking Caucasian and wigs? And she was like, never. And I was like, how many years did you do that? Many years. But when she started styling herself, wearing these wigs and styling her own hair, like having these Afro beautiful wigs and weaves, guess what happened? Women started complimenting, and she even nowadays she tells me she's gone to many places, and I've been to places with her where I've seen white women staring at her when we're together, and she's not the only one. When you wear your hair and you let it out, you let it flow, just let it out, let it breathe, you're sending a message to everyone. I am a free black woman. I'm beautiful the way I am. I am not like, I do not need any other cover. I do not need your hair, your style to be beautiful. No. I am beautiful the way I am. So I asked her, another woman who I've spoken to about this, how do you feel nowadays about yourself? Have you noticed any changes? And they're like, oh my God, the changes are amazing because the energy is different. These women have even received compliments from white men. Oh, that's such a beautiful hair. Now why? Because your hair is the first, as I said, that's the first thing you notice about someone, right? It sends a message. It's sending a message to the universe. It's sending a message to everyone of the energy that I am who I am, and I am complete. I am complete, and I do not need anything else or anyone else. My beauty is whole. I'm beautiful. I am wonderful. This is me, and that's the message that we need to be sending to all the women and to the young girls growing up. I remember growing up in Africa, I never once saw any woman, especially when I was growing up, with wigs. My grandmother never had wigs. She never had any wig. My mother never had any wigs. My aunts and women around, they never had any wigs. They never used to straighten my grandmother had a beautiful, I have a photo of my grandmother, beautiful black Afro, beautiful, big. And I used to touch my grandmother's hair, like this woolly hair, and I was like, oh grandma, that's beautiful hair. Look at the photos of women in America in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Look at how beautiful. Compare those photos with the women today in America. When you look at those photos, you'll understand that those women who let their hair out, and they understand, and they're like, we don't need to cover ourselves, and we don't need to look like white women, we don't need to look like Asian women. They're spiritual. There's nothing more spiritual than that. It's part of their spirituality. It's part of your identity. It's part of your culture. Wearing a wig or a weave that is Caucasian styled that's not your culture. That's not your spirituality. And now let's even go to we've spoken about the laws in Louisiana in 1786. You check it out, the Tignon-Otillon laws. And let's go to the economics of it, the business aspect of it. In America, the wig industry is worth close to $400 million. So what does this mean? It means that over $400 million, black women spend over $400 million. They give it mostly to the Asians, because the Asians who sell this hair. From their pockets, they give it to them to look like them. Over 400 million. The global market for this for the wigs is around $6 billion, and it's going to go to around $10 billion in the next two years. Again, black women giving their hard-earned money, dollars, over $6 billion to Asians and to other races, because they're the ones who make the hair they use, right? Then again, in Africa is annually is $6 billion. $6 billion. And we haven't even, this is not the like the entire, well, they haven't of course gone to the villages and all that. It's this figure comes from maybe the major towns or cities. So we're looking at the billions and the billions of dollars that is spent to enhance. It is spent to better the lives of other races. Billions of dollars. Now think about what this money can do to African communities, empowering African women in America, empowering African women in Africa. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. I took, because I do go to this kind of places, I took some lady friends to some shop. We were standing somewhere. I was like, I want us to stand here. And opposite us was an Asian shop that sells, in London, that sells these wigs and cosmetics and bleaching products and everything. We stood there and I told him, I want you to count how many black women will go to that shop. And in 1 hour, again looking at them, we didn't stay there for an hour, but in the few minutes we were there, in 1 hour, there were so many black women going in and out, going in and out, going in and out. Then I told him, do you know what the kind of car that man drives? He drives that family, they drive they drive the most expensive 4x4s. Their houses they're mortgage free. They've paid off their mortgages. Their kids go to private schools. they have paid all the college fees for their children to go to universities. Everything is paid for. They have private pensions. They have private health care. Their kids don't live where you guys live. Their families don't live where you live. But you are the people that have made them rich by not embracing your spirituality, not embracing your culture. Do you see white women walking around with Afro wigs, either in overseas or in Africa or in their countries? Do you see them doing that? They will never do that. Do you know, I tell our black women that the only time that the Caucasian, the white people and Asians wear wigs, it's during Halloween, and when they're having these crazy parties. That's when they wear Afro wigs to make fun, to appear like, hey, look at me, I'm a black. That's when they wear all these wigs. They don't. You'll never see. Go to America, go to Europe, travel the world. Look, you never see white women with black wigs and weaves. It'll never happen. Why? Because they understand the spirituality. They understand the message that they're sending. They're sending to you, and that's why I don't know whether you ever noticed this. If whenever I see a white woman like with her hair but with a black style, like she styled her with the cornrows and stuff, I'm like, there's something. I won't be surprised if your husband or if your boyfriend or someone in your family you've intermarried with black people, and that's usually the case, because it's a sign. Your hairstyle is a sign. So if you see black or white women with all these black styles, hairstyles, it's a message. It's usually what they're saying is, I belong to this black family and I'm proud of it. And that's usually the case most of the times. So you not see Asians doing that, you not see whites doing that, but we do that. Our women do that blindly. So here at Holistic African Spirituality, we talk about all topics. We address all issues. Black women, wherever you are beautiful. You are most beautiful when you wear your natural hair. When you wear your natural hair, you become what I call irresistible, right? And this is why in America they had all these laws, because they knew the black slaves with their hairs, with their natural hair. Oh my God, those white so-called masters were like, no, we can't. These women are so irresistible, and so they had to come up with all these laws, because you become a black woman with her hair, with just a natural hair. It's so spiritual that I find it's so captivating, because you're looking at someone, you're like, wow. You sort of stare and you freeze a little bit. You're like, what's going on? You're sort of captured at that moment. You're like, you can't. Your eyes have to look at this wonderful being. So you're most beautiful. You are most beautiful with your and in your natural state, natural hair, and no one should ever tell you otherwise. And also, you also need to look at the economic aspect of it. All these billions and billions of dollars that we give. Basically, we are like, yeah, you can have our billions every year in, year out. That should be used in black communities to build black schools, black colleges, black health centers, black sports centers. Should be used to build communities, to improve communities in Africa and outside Africa. So this is not just a simple thing. It's not just a simple thing. The people who sat down and the people who sit down and they say, oh, we can't allow you to come here with your natural hair. We can't allow your children to do this in natural hair. Even in Africa, can you believe this? Can you believe even in Africa? I was watching a case in one of the countries that, I can't remember which one exactly, but in one of the countries where there was, I think it's Kenya. It might be Kenya or Ghana, or one of the countries that they had this Rastas, the Rastafarian movement. They wanted to expel, or I think they had expelled their child or their kids. So like, you can't come in here with your natural hair. You cannot come here and study with locks. No, we're not gonna allow that. Why? It's colonial education. That's the mind. That's the white mind in a black person. You can't come in here and so you're like, what do you mean? What do you want me to do? What did they want the child to do? Can you believe they wanted the parents to cut this hair and sort of style I think the girl or the boy, so that they would look like a white person? Yeah, you have to style it nicely and keep it short. No, you don't have that problem with Asians. You don't tell them that. Or the Asians, they can wear their turbans. They can wear their turbans and go anywhere. The Asians can wear their turbans and fly planes and work in the airline industry, and work in the police and do all sorts of things. Why? It's their culture. They say it's their religion. It's their spirituality. But when it comes to us as Africans, oh no, we can't allow you that. That's not. God does not want you to do that. So do you see how serious this issue is? It's not a joke. It's not a joke. So when you, as a woman, when you take that wig and you put it on your head, you're covering your freedom. You're telling the universe, you're telling the Creator that you made a mistake when you gave me this beautiful wool-like Afro hair, this beautiful hair. This do you know something else? Something else so beautiful. Do you know it's only on Earth? It's only the black hair that stands, that defies gravity. Do you know that? Could it be that maybe that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are like, no, we can't have this? It's only the black hair that defies gravity. All other hair, they can't keep it up. Ours, yeah, it just stands. You can keep it up. That Afro, it stays like that. It doesn't need chemicals to make it stay like that. It just stays, defies gravity. It's not falling down. It's not going down. So, brothers and sisters, beautiful black brothers and sisters, wherever you are, guys, yeah, this hair business is serious. It's serious business. And for if you're a parent, wherever you are, and your child they're fighting you to cut those locks, and they want your children to have different styles, I'm with you. And every African should tell schools, whether in Africa or outside Africa, stop this nonsense. Stop this nonsense. This is us. This is our hair, right? It is our hair. If we let it grow, it becomes locks. It's beautiful. It just becomes something else, right? Your hair, if you let your hair grow and you don't take care of it, it becomes something else. We don't know what it becomes, but we know us what it becomes, right? So it's a big issue, and let me ask you a question, my Black Christian brothers and sisters. When is the last time that your pastor or your bishop talked about this? They wouldn't, because this is your spirituality. This is you. Our freedom fighters in Africa, both men and women, they had locks. when they came out of the forests, fighting after living there for years and years, they came out beautiful. Look at their photos, right? Look at their photos. They are beautiful people. When they came out, they were beautiful people. They came with these beautiful, healthy locks. And some of them, I saw one of them, he let the locks out and they were touching the ground. He was in the forest for years. He's still alive. I think he must be now in his late 80s. So, this is a spiritual thing. Your hair is your spirituality. If no one has ever told you this. And if you're a lady, you're a woman there, you're fighting, you're fighting with these emotions or thoughts, and you don't know whether you're going to go out without a wig or a weave or a style that isn't African. Try it for a week or 2 weeks and see what happens. Women, I even tell women who are looking to get married. I'm not saying that you know, even women who are like, oh, no one is asking me out. No, just pull that black African natural hair style out there and see what happens. You will tell me, and you write me, and you tell me you become irresistible. And men, not just one man or two, men will be saying hi to you. They'll be like, hey, hi sis, what's up? Just because of hair. When I see women with locks, I just stare. Not like Pavi staring. Not like a pervert. No, but I just stare. I smile. And I'm like, if they're close to me, I'm like, oh, you have such beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hair. And I can see that life, that energy that kicks in. And they smile back and say, oh, thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful. So let's all embrace our spirituality, sisters. And let's know that this is serious business. Serious business. Even, listen, women whose your husbands, maybe your husband is playing out and they're doing certain things, but you love your husband and you're crazy for him and you want to, he's your man, and you know that this is, God gave you this guy, but he's seeing other, he's being is sort of looking outside and he's deviating and he's doing other things that he shouldn't do. Just next time you go to meet him, if you plan to meet, have your natural hair. Put it on, pull that style, that black style from the top to the bottom. Style it and go and meet him and see what happens. Sparks will fly. He will stare at you. He'll be like, huh? Because all his life he's seen you with wigs. Now he will meet a woman who knows and who is telling the entire universe, I'm here and this is me and I'm not turning back. And then you go and meet him and he will be shocked. He will freeze and he'll be like, oh, that energy will just stop him. And soon he'll be home, right? Listen, I can talk about this hair business for a very long time because it's amazing. So we've looked at the laws in Louisiana in 1786. We've looked at the economic side of it. We've looked even how what hair does in relationships and in confidence. It will boost your confidence. It's a spiritual thing. It's about your spirituality. I think I might have to do another recording on hair and stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. And let that natural hair flow. Thank you so much. All the best to you. Bye bye.